Welcome back to another episode of Alpha Access, EverQuest Next Landmark. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over the latest additions and features added to the game, such as the new marketplace, claim permissions, and the new Mystical Alchemy Crafting Station. Stay tuned! Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Alpha Access, EverQuest Next Landmark. In today's episode, I wanted to cover the patch that just occurred last week, I think it was. They've added quite a bit of stuff. There's some major changes, some new features that they've implemented. And I want to just take a few minutes here and go through this stuff because actually I think all this stuff is for the better. Okay, so one of the first things they added, which I think is one of the more major features that they've finally implemented, is basically their little cash shop, which they're calling the marketplace. Some of you who are familiar with Sony Online Entertainment games are probably familiar with this. But they've added this icon down here in the lower left-hand corner. If we just click on this little shopping cart guy, you see it brings up the trading post. And within the trading post, we can buy all sorts of materials and outfits. Just coming through here, you can see some of this stuff. Amethyst builder's bag. Basically all the materials that you can find in the game, you can buy here in the trading post. And we can also search for stuff. If we want to click on a red formal uniform, you can kind of take a look at that and see what that looks like. That's costing 900 SC, which is basically Sony's online currency. And for those of you interested to see how many SC you can get for your dollar, let's take a quick look at that. Go to our balance. I'm going to just use credit card real quick. And we can see here the listed prices for 500 SC is pretty much $5 USD. It goes all the way up to 10,000 SC for $85. Let's just take a look here. We can search by category or by outfits. If we do that, we get a whole list of everything that we can buy as far as outfits go. We can select the price range here on the left. We can also do another search for something even more specific. Let's say wood. And say find it. And all the wood you can currently purchase that's in the game. Again, you can find this stuff out in the world. This is mostly for if you're just missing that extra 100 or so wood and you don't really feel like going down and chop down a tree. You can come in here to the trading post and buy it if you want. And we can change the look and list of things. Total ratings, the creator, accolades, creation date, all that good stuff. And we can always go back to the home page. What's also nice about the trading post is it's got the latest known issues and things like that here in the middle. So if there's a new patch or something you want to check that out, you can click here and it'll send you to the website link. You can even check out your searches, your friends' searches. You can view more, which we pretty much did before. Alright, so we checked out the outfits really quick, and we can look at these later. There's a video that they've recently released that shows off the new outfits and some future ones that'll be coming, but you can take a look quickly here at how those look. It'd be nice if this was a 3D view that you could tumble around and scroll around, but hopefully that'll come later in the future. Just quickly take a look at the material costs here because you can buy materials such as this copper, iron, and the difference is there's the bags and then there's these chests of these materials. So we'll take a look at the copper bag. Let's see how much that costs. That's 100 SC, which is basically $1 US. And if you do that, you get 8,850 copper ore, which isn't too bad. That's quite a bit. But if you go with something like the chest, even though this isn't copper, it's pretty much the same price, 500 SC, which is $5 USD. And this contains 43,750. So that's actually not a bad deal. But we can go ahead and here and look to see the price difference for the copper versions of that. So the copper's bag has got 8,850 and the chest has 44,250. So it looks like it's about the same. But also note that the builder's chests also add a bonus box to your inventory that can be opened for bonus resources. So that's pretty cool. And again, I'm not sure how I feel about being able to buy materials. I mean, I totally understand that SOE needs to make money somehow. And selling outfits, it's definitely a way to go. Selling materials, I guess it kind of works. I mean, like I said, they've got to make money. And it doesn't really feel like pay to win. It's basically just a time saver. So instead of going out and having to mine this stuff and try to find it, you can go ahead and come here to the trading post and buy it up immediately if you want to spend a few bucks. And of course it does help the developers and supporting the game, so all in all, it honestly doesn't bother me too much. And I'm sure these, like I said, this is alpha, and these prices, once they get some feedback, could be subject to change here. So I think keep in mind everything here in the store is craftable. At least I hope the outfits are craftable soon, because we can harvest things like jute and stuff like that right now, even though there's not much use for it. So I imagine everything in here is going to be available in the game one way or the other. And the most important reason the marketplace is here is for basically saving time and to help the developers out with earning a little bit of money back. But that's a quick look at the marketplace. Next up, we'll dive into the claims permissions that they've just finally updated and added. So let's take a look at that. All right, finally we can come over here to our claims permissions list, the claim management UI, and we can finally have people work on our claims if we've got friends or guildies and we want them to be able to craft or move stuff around in our claim, or if we want to do some sort of collaborative claim building, we can finally do that. So what we want to do is select whichever claim you've got. I've got 2 right now. I want to go ahead and click on Castle Strahz here. This brings up the edit claim window. As you can see here, you've got security levels. Default level for the generic public is no access, but we can change that. We can change it to visitor. Visitors can use props. Customers can use props, can take items from chests. So if you want to set up sort of your own little store, people can come by and buy up materials that you farmed. You can do that. Decorator can use props, take items from chests, and they can move props. And then lastly is builder, basically giving them full permission to your claim to be able to do just about everything you can. So you can place and destroy voxels and props, so basically full access. But what's also nice, I noticed, is you can specify somebody. As a quick note, they finally added a friends list, and I'll go over that here in a minute. But if I wanted to let my friend Cyric here have permission to my claim, I can go ahead and type in Cyric, and we'll give him visitor access, and we'll just hit the plus key. So now Cyric is a visitor. If we change this back to visitor, he can now use the props on my claim. And we can always change it per person and the access level per person as well. It's like, oh, I really like Cyric. He's an amazing builder, so I'm going to let this guy go nuts on one of my claims. Just let him have at it. Or we can collaborate and do something cool. And then if you don't want that person to have any sort of access to your claim, you just go ahead and click the X button. That gets rid of them. I'm just going to change that back real quick. And of course, these features here, the tag claim, I'm not really sure. I think this is later when you want to sell things. So you can sell your claims. You could build something like a tower, or as I mentioned previously in previous videos, you could construct something like a tower or a wall or a really nice archway, or even a full-size castle or claim or what have you. And you can sell it on the marketplace. Then of course, when you do something like that, you want people to be able to find these things. So I went ahead and called this claim Strahz Tower, and then I could tag it. We can't do that just yet, I believe, so that, I believe, is coming. So that's pretty much the claims permissions in a nutshell. And just remember, you can do this for each and every claim that you have. So I can do outer Castle Strahz and make this full builder access. This means anybody on the server can come over and start building on my claim. And then of course I can come in and add my friend Lisk here. And we'll give her customer level. And there we go. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward, but very powerful finally for having your friends, colleagues, and guildmates come over and start building some really cool stuff together. And speaking of Landmark being more social, they've finally added the friends list, which you saw me messing with a little bit earlier. So it should be default like this, close. You just open this up with the plus key. It works just like any sort of IM friends list. I can go in here and look for a friend if I know their name. Trying to think of somebody I know I'm not friends with yet on this server. Cutwit's a pretty funny guy. So what it's going to do here is just send a friend request. I don't know if it shows you here in the... No, it doesn't. It'd be nice if they sort of added that, like, friend request sent to Cutwit. But next time he logs in, he's going to get a little dialog box saying Strahz wants to be friends, and he just says yes or no. But if he says yes, they show up here on your friends list, which is pretty cool. And you can remove friend. You can use this circle icon to get rid of them, or you can just right click and remove friend. And you can show offline or show online. So that's pretty cool. Pretty quick way to set up your friends list and be able to chat with them pretty quick. Alright, what I'd like to take a look at next is the changes they've made to selection, copying, and placing templates. They're calling it tweak mode. And this is actually pretty powerful, and I think it's well overdue, and it's pretty awesome. So let's take a look at that. All right, new tweak mode. Let's take a look here. So if we come over here to my wooden wall here, I'm going to make a selection. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. And before, you can move this around, just like we can still do this the way we did before. Shift-Tab to change rotation or translation, things like that. That still works. What you might also notice is one other little quick bug that they fixed is I can tumble around now. And this object stays right in the middle of my screen for the most part. But once I let go of my mouse button, it sort of snaps like it did before. It is an improvement. I'll give them that, that's for sure. But if I wanted to be more precise, which a lot of people do, you go ahead and just shift and click. And we're now in the tweak mode. So I can go ahead and move this guy, just like I could before. I can change it to rotation. Change it to movement, and if you have a prop or something like that, you can scale it as well up here. And once you've found the position you like, you just go ahead and click on that check mark. But before we do that, what's really cool is I can totally run around here. And I'm holding down the right mouse button right now to keep my camera pretty center. I'm going to go ahead and let go of it, but you can see without the tweak tool, that prop doesn't move right now. This little paste template does not move. It's pretty much stuck right where it is. And that is a huge time saver, especially when you're doing stuff with the tiny micro voxels and you want to line them up pretty accurately. But once you're done, you like the position, just go ahead and hit that check mark, and it places it for you. It's a pretty sweet, pretty powerful addition to the game, and I'm really glad it's here. They just seem to be overall really making these tools easier and more accessible for us to use and build with. And that gets an A+ in my book. So I'll just go over it again. Control C, Control V. This right now I'm just copying some material. I don't have tweak mode enabled right now, so when I let go of my mouse button, you can see this jump around a little bit. But now if I hit Shift and then I click, we're now in tweak mode. And in tweak mode, we can do just like we could with anything else. We can rotate, scale, and translate. Tweak it into the position we want. We can also run around and say, okay. If I've moved around too much, it's gonna slide on me, but now it's not, that's just so awesome. And then I'm just gonna hit the check mark, and there we go, it places it. Huge addition, and I'm so glad it's here. It's really made building the stuff around here so much easier. Alright, next up is the changing to wood harvesting. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we went out here. Let me just equip my axe real quick. There we go. Before, when you went out and harvested wood, and I'm going to bring up my loot chat box window here. Here we go. So I'm going to come over here and chop this tree. Get my axe in hand. And you'll notice the loot window here. Pay attention to that real quick. So I'm going ahead and I'm harvesting up these plain wood logs, as you can see in the lower right hand corner. And before, what used to happen is every once in a while you get the rare item, the burled wood log. And that was a percentage chance based on some stats you might have on your character with jewelry and things like that. But that's no longer the case. That was pretty much an average tree. But if we go over to specific trees, we're going to get a different type of wood. So we start chopping this guy down. Let's make sure this is the right one. There it is. As you can see in the lower right hand corner here, I'm now getting striped wood logs out of this big tree. Instead of it being a random chance, this is now the type of tree I go to get that type of wood. And also of note, when you're done chopping down any tree, you're pretty much guaranteed to get this new resource they're calling heartwood. You can go ahead and finish chopping this guy down. You'll see what pops up here. You can see that the little piece of wood there was green in color, and we look over here at the lower right hand side, we've got the heartwood now. And heartwood's going to be a new rare resource you're going to need to craft some of the higher tier picks and axes. So unfortunately the method hasn't exactly changed on how you harvest this wood. But now you can go out and, just like certain ore nodes in the ground, you can go to certain trees for certain types of wood that you're after. And speaking of heartwood, let's go take a look at the new crafting station they've implemented as well. It's called the Alchemy Station. Alright, here's the new Alchemy Station that's now been added to the game. we take a look in here, we can do refined wood. So we can take this heartwood and refine it to make some more complex, more higher tiered items and weapons and things like that. So we've got refined wood. We've also got refined wood oil. I haven't really found any of this stuff yet, but I haven't really gone too far out of my claim to search for this stuff just yet, but I will be. And it sounds like with this alchemy station, we're going to be able to craft potions and things like that, not just deal with this special type of wood. It'll be interesting to see what they add here with the alchemy station. I'm actually really looking forward to see what can be added. It could be cool. Also, a quick note here, if we come over to our forge, they've also updated the axe progression. Before we just had, I think it was just stone, copper, and then gold. They've added a few more tiers in between, so now we've got stone, copper, tin, gold, silver, and lastly, rubicite. And I believe you're going to need rubicite to be able to harvest the higher tier trees. Also, a quick note, if you take a look over here at my resources panel, you can see I've now got a colored icon and textured icon based on the material I'm selecting. So if we go ahead and choose Tundra Ice, this now shows up here. So you can always see at a quick glance which material you've got selected. I just find that's another like small great addition to really help with the UI and help with clarification. And let's just take a quick look at the requirements for this new alchemy station. So we click on, you're going to need a reinforced saw table. And once you got that, it's underneath the crafting station, and it's the first one on the list. It's the Mystical Alchemy Station. You need 20 heartwood. Basically got to chop down 20 trees, which honestly does not take that long. Especially if you chop down a small tree. You're going to need some tourmaline, 80. Again, that's not too hard to find. You're going to need some copper ingots. This is all tier 1 stuff. And plain wood planks. Oh, also of note, I forgot to mention as well, they changed the resource requirements and the amount of logs and plain wood logs it takes to get planks. And not just plain wood, basically all these guys. So basically for every 1 plain wood log, you're going to get 100 plain wood planks. And the same goes for burled wood and striped wood. But I believe that's temporary. I'm sure that ratio is going to change here in the future. But again, taking a look at the Mystical Alchemy requirements, it's really not that bad. That's all tier 1 stuff, so it's pretty easy to craft. And what I'd also like to show you, this was patched in actually about 2 weeks ago. There are a ton more props here. You see they've added this list here, trees, rocks, and plants. You mentioned I was going to show you guys in an earlier video some of this stuff. I mean, there is, what I wanted to do is actually craft one of these and try to line them up each on my claim. But then I looked at this list and I'm like, yeah, I don't think my claim would be big enough. And this is just a lot of stuff. But you can see there's just so much, like large jungle trees, thorn leaves, small desert trees. You can do some really cool stuff here. I believe you can do vines. I'm trying to find that real quick. Diamond pines, huge pine trees, old growth trees. I think it was under plants. I was just look at the list of plants, my god. Tundra flowers, berry bushes. Let's see here, old growth ferns. There's somewhere around here. Yeah, deathweave plants. This stuff I haven't found yet, deathweave. I'm sure it's out there. Vile bloom plants. Let's see what else. Just trying to find those. Actually, I'll just show you. I actually placed a couple vines around my claim real quick, just to see what it looked like. And here's one of the, I think there's 3 different versions of these vines, which can look really cool. That's some really nice detail to your claim. I think I added some over here as well, just to show some sort of like overgrowth. So yeah, there's a whole bunch more props we can add now. We can craft them. And quickly take a look at the requirements for some of this stuff. It's really not that bad. Let's go ahead and look at, let's see here, some trees. Let's go to large old growth tree. It only costs 10 plain wood logs. That's really, you can get that in about 10 seconds. So it's pretty easy to get a hold of this stuff. Some of the other stuff, like I mentioned, the deathweed plant, some of these are sort of rare resource materials which I haven't found yet, or they haven't been implemented into the game. So there you go, folks. A quick look at the latest changes to the game with the latest couple of patches here. Again, the marketplace and trading post, this new Mystical Alchemy Station here, changes to harvesting wood, friends list, how to update your claim management, all that good stuff. It's really starting to come along. I think they're really starting to crank this stuff out for preparation of closed beta, which it sounds like should be the end of March here. Knock on wood. I'm super excited to see where Sony's going to take this. It's really coming along, and I can't wait for more. Alright folks, if you've enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe. If you've got any questions, again, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Until next time folks, take care.